And the last thing I wanted to show you is the stuff that matches the lecture, which is down here in debugging. 401. 401 is exe hacking with OllyDbg, which is not due for a few weeks, but I think it's good to talk about here because it's closely related to what the lecture was. So here, I'll again shove this to the side and do it live. So first you need Olly, which we've already got installed in this machine, and hashcalc, which we've already got, and you need Putty, which I think I also have on this machine. I think I have it in the downloads folder. Let's see. This is an old version of Putty. You just want to use this exact version for the project, just because you want to get exactly the right hash values to get the flags. I'm going to make a folder, I think, on my desktop there. New folder. Okay, let's call it demo. All right, and I'm going to put my Putty in there. I'm going to copy it here because I got too much junk in my downloads folder. I'm going to try and make it easier to tell what I'm doing. There. So I have a copy of Putty in this folder called demo. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to do is verify the hash. So I run hashcalc, which is here. And I drag Putty into hashcalc, and I see that the MD5 is BA7, and that is, SHA-256. All right, SHA-256 is 9F9. That's right. Okay, good. So this is the correct version of Putty to use to get the expected flags. So if you run Putty, Putty is just an SSH client. So you can give it the name of a server, and I'm zooming in just to make it easier for people watching, I think. So the name of the server is ad.samsclass.info. You can use any server that's listening on SSH port 22, but this is just a server I know is listening. Then say open, and it'll open this box, and it will say login as. So that's all I care about. Then I can give it a valid name and password and get a shell on the server, but I don't care about that. I care about the program's functionality to print out this message. We're going to mess with that. So close that and open it in Olly. So let's start. It looks like I already have Olly going, so I can do File, Open, and I put a thing on my desktop, desktop called Demo, and there's Putty. Okay, so here's Putty, and kill the old thing and run Putty. Yeah, okay, something's going wrong with killing hello, so close this. You can't find the running hello. I probably closed it somewhere. Let's get rid of this. Okay, that's actually, all right, let's try that again. Olly. Okay. Now that program was down desktop. Okay, got to do open. Desktop. Demo. Putty. There we go. It's loaded up Putty. All right. Now, I want to run it and see the login as. So I run it. It opens up the window. I give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info, and then open, and there it prints login as. So it's working. Good. Now, I'm going to find out what happened here. I'm going to right-click here and search for all reference text strings. This will find all strings that are used in commands. Somewhere there must be a call to print that message, print login as. So this will find references to that string in putty.txt. So I go to the top of this to just search down from the top, and now right-click, search for text, and I search for login as. Okay, and there it is, login as. And now if I right-click and search for next, I find another one. And if I right-click and search next, there's no more. So there are two of them. So to tell which one is used, I put a breakpoint here with F2, and then I go back and find the previous one. So wonder if I can do it easily. Right-click. I don't see an easy way to search backwards. I'm sure there's some way to do it. Maybe this one. Entire scope. There we are. Good. There's the other one. I can press F2 Okay, now I put a breakpoint on both of those instructions that use that string. So now I can find out which one is being used by going back to the CPU window. And now I can just do a debug restart to run the program. And now run it with the run button here. I could use F9 also, it doesn't matter. Now ad.samsclass.info and open. And now it hit a breakpoint. And it tells me here 41CB6E. I can also see it up there. So now I know the address of the one that matters. It's 41CB6E. So now I'm done with the breakpoints. So I'm going to view breakpoints. I'm going to delete them all. Remove. Okay, now I have no more breakpoints. And I want to modify this instruction. So this is push putty 467C7C. And here it tells me that's login as. And here it tells me the same thing, 7C7C equals login as. But I can also right click and follow in dump immediate constant. Now this is an instruction of the type I was talking about earlier. This push instruction is 68 7C7C 4600. This is the absolute address 00467C7C in little endian order, directly in the instruction. And here's the contents: login as colon space then a null byte to terminate the string. This is the string login as. So if I change that last 7C to a 7D, it will point to the O instead of the L, and that's what I'm going to do. I click there, I press space, and now I can modify that command. So I change the last thing from a C to a D, and then assemble, and then cancel. And now it shows I have modified this so it turns it red. Now it shows it's now login as instead of login as. And so now that I've modified the program, I can save it. I go to the area where I made the change. If you right click in a different area, you won't save the change. You go to where you made the change and right click and copy to executable all modifications. Copy all, and now you have a program, Putty, with that modified command. Now you right click and save file. And now I'm going to call it Putty 2. Okay. And now I'm done with Olly for a while. So now I have a thing called Putty 2, and when I run Putty 2, and I give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info, and then say open, now it prints login as without the L. Now this ought to bother you. I have just modified somebody else's executable code. This is not supposed to be possible. This is what code signing is supposed to prevent. If you go to Putty and right click and go to properties, there is a tab here called digital signatures. And if you go there, it tells you the name of the author is Simon Tatum. And if you go to details, it tells you this digital signature is okay. So this is signed code, and it's unmodified, written by the developer and code signed by the developer, who had to pay like $100 a year for this code signing certificate. I know, because I have one. This Putty I just modified, it can't have a valid signature anymore. That's the whole point of a signature. It still has a digital signatures tab, and when you go there, it still says it's from Simon Tatum, but when you go to details, it tells you the signature is not valid. So this is where I get a bad attitude about Microsoft. You sign the code, the operating system detects that the signature is not valid, and when you run it, it doesn't even pop up a warning box or block it or anything. It says, okay, sure, somebody put malware in this program, but that looks fine, let's just run it. I mean, this is messed up. What the hell, you know? Anyway, that's convenient for us. I can modify signed code and it will just run. I remember I went to a conference like 8 years ago, and these guys said, how to modify signed executables. And I'm like, you can't modify signed executables. And they said, oh, yes, you can. And at that time they were saying, when Microsoft signs them, they only sign about half the sections, and you can change the other sections. But this is the latest version of Windows 10. This is pretty damn messed up. But But this is the joy of Microsoft. So it doesn't notice that I'm just putting malware instead of a library. And it doesn't notice that I'm just modifying Sean code. Or rather, it does notice, but it doesn't care. Anyway, this is unhealthy, but that's the way it is. And when I showed this at DEF CON, some Microsoft engineer came up to me afterwards and tried to explain why this would be like too much of a performance loss or something, but I wasn't impressed. But anyway, so there's various things here where you alter the login message in various ways and modify the code, but that's the story. And so the other thing I wanted to show you, which is also here, which is great fun, is the 0001.exe thing. And just have to refresh this page, I think. Yeah, all right, good. So that 000 program is fun to cheat on. So let's play with that one a bit. So I start Olly. We already saw this one earlier during the lecture. So if you load that, yeah, it's telling me I'm not the administrator. I don't need to be. File, open here, 000. This is the one we saw earlier that just asks you to guess. Now, we're going to cheat at this game. And that's why this thing is great, because the assembly language is so simple, you can just read it. Because right here, it gives you basically C system calls. So here it prints the message launch code, here it reads a number, here it says you win, here it says you lose. So here, I don't even need to read more than just a little bit of these instructions. It calls something, it moves something. It compares something. It compares something here with something there. And then it does a jump not 0. And one of the jumps is to go to 205A, which is here, and then it's going to say you failed. The other one is to not jump, and then go here and say you win. So apparently this comparison determines whether I put in the right number. And this jump is whether it fails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do the comparison and not do the jump, and then I will fall through to the win message. So if I just don't do this and I don't do that, it'll accept any input. So you just go here and press space and fill with nops. Just give it nop. No operation. Then assemble. That fills all those 6 bytes with nops. So just keep hitting assemble. Now here's the jump not 0. I don't want to do that either. So I go, yeah, JumpCNC is just like a goto. It's the same thing. Okay, now it's going to print a message, read something for me, and then tell me I win without bothering to make sure I was right. Now this is a game, I can do it. Can you set a breakpoint in the compare and see what the value is? Yes, you can. That's a very good point. In fact, that's a clever solution, and I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, we could try that next. That's a new one. Anyway, I'm going to save it this way. Right-click. Now I'm just going to save this, copy to executable, all modifications, copy all, and now right-click, save file, and I'm going to call this 000 mod, and save it. Okay, and now close Olly and go into my folder, which is my downloads folder for this one. Do a directory, and I've got 000 and 000 mod. So if I run 00 mod and give it 11, I win. So that's cool. So that's one way to win. Now this idea from a student is actually a very good idea. Let's try that. I never ever did bother to find out what the right answer is, but that's always a good solution. Let's try that. So if I run OllyDbg and I load 000, yes, so here it's going to compare something. So if I put a breakpoint there and run, then it opens this box and I give it my 11, enter. Now it hits the breakpoint. So it's comparing EAX with D-word something. Okay, EAX contains all that crap. 40303C contains B. B is the 11 I typed in. So apparently this is the number I typed in, and I should have typed in that. Holy crap. Apparently that's the right value, and I had to put it in base 10. So that's a little messed up. However, apparently that's the answer. Let's try it. I can use a calculator on my Mac. Okay, calculator. And I can go to programmer. Okay, let's try this. So it is base 16, 384, A9, 239. Okay, if I take that to base 10, it's that number. So apparently that's the winning number. Let's see if that is true. I wonder if I can copy. Drag through and copy. I'm not sure I can. Anyway, I can type it in. Let's try that. So if I now close this and I run the program here and run there. Okay, 944411193. Wow, that's awesome. I never thought of that solution, but that's a good solution. That's apparently the right number. Cool. Good. Anyway, so that's how you cheat at the game. And there are some other tricks here, and there's some challenges where you have to write a script and automatically cheat on hundreds of them to get the things and so on. But that's the joy of cheating on Windows games. And that's why everybody loves Olly. Olly makes it pretty easy to mess with running code. And that's all the demos I wanted to do today.